listening to The Dave Glover Show.
Welcome back, guys. 3:35, Dave Glover Show. So a couple weeks ago, I guess, maybe last Monday, time flies, we had a senatorial debate between Sarah Steelman, Congressman Todd Akin, and John Brunner. And I saw the whole thing, and it was fascinating to be a part of and to watch from behind the scenes. And I went back to watch it on TV for a little while. And we've had Todd on, we've had Sarah on, and now for the first time in studio, we welcome John Brunner. Great to have you in, sir.
It's good to be with everyone. Thank you.
So for anyone out there, like I was saying in the last segment, we only share about 30% of our audience with the rest of the station. So 70% of my listeners probably haven't heard you on Jamie's show or Dana's show. So introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are.
Well, I'm John Brunner, obviously running for the U.S. Senate. I spent 4 years as an infantry officer in the Marine Corps, then 33 years in a small family manufacturing business. We took it from about 40 to 1,400 people. I've also spent some time on the mission field, kind of my own faith in action. And now I'm running for the U.S. Senate, raising my hand one more time to volunteer to help get our country working again, Missouri working again, take these years of experience in business and manufacturing. I'm the only guy running who's actually met a payroll, took care of suppliers, ridden the ups and downs of regulation and taxes, and know a little bit of what it's like to try to survive out there in a real tough competitive world.
I was talking to Dave Spence the other day, who's running for governor and doesn't have a lot of political experience, and I said, great. I don't think that's a knock. I think that's a positive thing. And I think most people these days, and it's changed from 20, 30 years ago, I think that's a positive for a lot of people. I bet you're finding that.
Well, it is. I just got off the phone coming up here from some people down the Joplin area and Springfield area as well. The whole idea of a citizen senator, people volunteering their years of experience to come in and do the job. And it's not unlike Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin. He was 31 years in manufacturing, never ran for the Senate. He came in and beat Feingold, doing a fantastic job. He's endorsed my campaign. Another business guy, and Dr. Tom Coburn from Oklahoma, endorsed the campaign. That guy's a rock star.
I would write that guy in for president. I love that guy.
He is amazing. I mean, he has a 600-page plan in terms of what we need to do to stop the spending and stop the debt. You know, but this is a guy who's set his term limits, and he'll just be finishing up here, so I'll have a chance to join him for a couple years. But those are the kind of people we need there. I think the U.S. Chamber of Commerce came and endorsed the campaign because they see we got to get business people up there. John Deere, what a great organization, endorsed. Made in America, tied in with agriculture, and Freedom Works, a conservative organization. People are getting on board because it's time to get people with real leadership background and experience to get up there and get it done. These career politicians, they just keep kicking the can down the road, and they seem to lose sense of reality. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know what happens when you've been in Jefferson City or Washington, D.C. for 15 or 25 years, but you lose your edge.
I don't either. And I mean that truly, and I know you do too, because we've both known good people who go there and they change, because when they were just a family guy, they had to pay their bills. If they were a businessman, you'll go bankrupt. But somehow when you go to the power centers of states or the federal government, the rules don't apply anymore.
Well, you're right. They have the special carve-outs in terms of health care and pensions. So this is supposed to be a service. And far too much power is in these areas, too much in Jefferson City, too much in Washington, D.C. People just lose the edge. That's why you should have a term limit on it. And, they also lose a track of their thought process. I mean, just this week, Claire McCaskill's saying that we've passed a budget. And it's a kind of that strange speak on some sort of technicality. We haven't had a budget in over 1,100 days. And then, even Sarah Steelman, she said on the debate in one of her comments, well, I've never passed a tax increase. But she did vote to make permanent a 6-cent increase on gas taxes. Mm-hmm. And here's her line. She said, I didn't vote for a tax increase. I voted for maintaining a revenue stream. Now, is that politics or what? Maintaining a revenue stream sounds a lot to me and everybody else in Missouri like a tax increase. These folks just lose their edge. You got to get people that have been working for a living to get up there in Washington, D.C.
Before we talk about Claire, because ultimately that's what you want to do is take on Claire McCaskill, take her Senate seat. Let's talk about your opponents August 7th, Sarah Steelman, Congressman Todd Akin. You mentioned Sarah. So a lot of people who I know who are at the debate view you and Todd very similarly. And they say, boy, they remind me a lot of each other, but Congressman Aiken obviously has experience. He's been on Capitol Hill. Maybe that'll give him the edge. Convince people not to give Todd that edge.
Well, the question is, what kind of experience are you looking for? Congressman Aiken, a nice guy, and he describes himself as a team player, a go-along kind of a guy. Is that what we really need? Someone who's been in the legislature for 25 years. I mean, what has he done? Is he known as an advocate? Is he known as a fighter? Has he stuck his neck out? Has he led the charge? What has he led? You know, I was a leader in the Marine Corps. I was a leader in the business. I was a leader in the mission field. I volunteered to help a lot of nonprofit organizations to get in there and make a difference. And I don't know how much time we have on the meter with this spending in the economy. Unfortunately, Todd Aiken voted to increase the debt ceiling limit 4 times, and at the same time, he's in the top 25% of earmarkers. I mean, maybe at a different time and place, but not now where our country is economically hurting and so many people are losing their jobs. You know, we did something today here just to help folks out because I believe as a business person, you got to go to the original source documents to really check it out. I mean, campaign speeches and ads are one thing, but we put out an aikenfacts.com and steelmanfacts.com, where you can go in there and actually track down the original source documents to really differentiate whether it's between Congressman Aiken or Treasurer Steelman or myself here. I'm presenting a fresh, clean approach here of a business guy who's done things and wants to make the changes and bring a little leadership up there.
If you would like to ask John Brunner a question, you can call me at 314-969-9797, 866-455-9797. So, John, I'm sure before you were running for this office, you heard and probably said, my God, why would anyone want to have this job? Why would anyone want to go to Capitol Hill? Talk to me about your decision. You finally talked it over with your family and friends and said, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, I've been involved. I remember 7th grade, 1964, going door to door with Barry Goldwater. Never get handing out books. And one guy gave a book to, he tore it in half, threw it at my face, slammed the door, and I thought, man, politics is kind of tough. And, you know, when my dad was alive, he would always involve the whole family. He says, you know, the reason politics has such a bad name is that good people don't get involved.
Amen, yeah.
And it is a tough decision, but it's the right decision. I mean, it was no different than back in my college days and thinking, you know, I need to join the Marine Corps, I need to serve my country. And when you feel you can have some background and experience to do what you need to do, you go forward. But I tell you what Ron Johnson told me. He says, John, I tell you what, and I had my wife up there too in D.C., and he said, every good thing you've ever done is going to be torn to shreds, and you're going to be ripped to pieces. But should you prevail, he said, and win this election, we'll be able to double the number of manufacturers in the U.S. Senate to 2, and I'll have someone to talk to. I mean, folks, we got 57 lawyers up there and 1 manufacturer. I mean, if we had legal problems to solve, fine, but we have jobs problem, we have economy problem, we have budget problems. So at the end of the day, when you know you can be of help, you got to volunteer. I mean, and a lot of folks will do that in all walks of life, and nonprofit organizations are helping out in different areas. And I tell you what, there's more non-politicians getting involved in this race across the country than any time in our history, and that's what's going to turn things around.
I think the 2010 election really woke a lot of people up and really scared a lot of people to death, a lot of the old guard. So obviously, as a senator, you would be asked to vote on, to have an opinion on a great myriad of things. But what would John Brunner go to Washington? Where is the fire in your belly? What are your top 2 or 3 issues that you would really want to attack?
Well, I tell you, it's something I've experienced in 33 years of business. You know, number one, every time we sit down and do a budget, I've done it for 33 years. No one else running has done this kind of work. But we'd say, what's the price of energy? And, you know, $20 a barrel wipes out our profit. We need a good American energy policy. Number one, we have the resources. We can lower our cost of manufacturing, lower the cost of agriculture. Let's get our energy going again. Number 2, red tape regulations. They're strangling us, strangling the small farmers. Everybody's being hit every week, piling on more and more and more. It's costing businesses $1 trillion a year. You know, number 3, a fair, flatter tax rate and a competitive one for business. We're the highest in the world. People stop investing. And number 4, tort reform. We need comprehensive tort reform. That goes into taking care of business and jobs as well as health care. Folks, we can do it. America doesn't need to be this way. We can turn it around. We just need a few more people up there in Washington, D.C., who's not about their career, but more about the motivation to get the job done and come home. I got 6 great grandkids at home waiting for me. I'm up there for them. I'm up there for everyone's grandkids. And I know with the right kind of leadership, we can get this country turned around.
You know, I'm a bit of a throwback and a big John Wayne fan and the 40s and the 50s era when we were unapologetic about being America. Not everything was perfect. We made a lot of mistakes. A lot of things evolved that should have evolved. But I miss that attitude of, yeah, we're America. We're proud of it. We're going to outdo you every single time. And if you think you can take us, then good luck. And you know, there you go. But we're so apologetic about all the things that made us a great country.
You're right. I mean, the idea of made in America, 99% of our products are made in America. It's a great sense of pride there. But right now we see stuff made in Washington, D.C. with too much regulation and too many controls. We're losing our jobs. And I'm with you. I was a John Wayne fan myself here, and there was a real sense of pride. You know, President Eisenhower would ask himself one question on every bill that came across his desk. It was a very simple question that is being asked by far too few senators and congresspeople. He'd ask, is it good for America? You know, America's the home team. Let's support the home team. Is it good for America, American jobs? Is it constitutional? And finally, can we afford it? Let's bring common sense and let's restore the pride in America just like we used to. We can do it. I know we can.
Let's take a couple phone calls. John Brunner in studio with us. Joe, go right ahead. You're on the air.
Oh.
Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Hey, John, Semper Fi. I'm a fellow Marine. I just wanted to find out your stand on gun laws.
Well, Semper Fi as well. You know, as fellow Marines, everyone was a rifleman, you know, and whether you're a cook or an admin or whatever, you got on the rifle range and you kind of learned those basic principles there. But I'm 100% a Second Amendment kind of a guy. This is part of our Constitution. I'm 100% all the way Second Amendment, and you know, it's part of our founding fathers. It's part of our tradition. It's most importantly, it's part of our Constitution.
Ethan, go right ahead. You're on the air with John Brunner.
Yeah, Mr. Brunner. Just say thank you for one of your last comments, the fact that you want to go up there, get the job done, and then come back home, where everybody else wants to park their lazy butt up there, mooch off the system, get their retirement, and just do nothing for us for the rest of their days. So the fact that you've been in business, that you know what it means to get a budget, and you don't plan on staying up there, you want to get home to your family, that's like founding father stuff. I'm into that. So thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Ethan.
Well, I appreciate that. That's exactly right, and that's the kind of attitude that we need up there. That's the kind of attitude that Senator Tom Coburn has, and Ron Johnson, and too few others up there. I mean, really, who really wants to go to Washington, D.C.? I mean, it's like going to war, going to battle. You want to get the job done and get home.
Get out of there.
Yes, get out of there. Exactly right.
I just got a text from my good friend Jeff Hansen at Hansen's Tree Service, who's very politically engaged. And, you know, his business just gets crushed by energy prices. And he wants to know, what will you do to help the small businessman like a Hansen's Tree Service?
Well, number one, Americans love to win. We love to compete. You know, farmers love to add acreage in manufacturing. Nothing like open up a new crate of new equipment. No matter what business you're in, especially for the entrepreneurs, the number one is these incredible regulations that are coming in, whether it's the Department of Labor or EPA. The energy prices are choking all of us. You know, and I think about when I came out of the Marine Corps and do the small family business, the FDA was there to shut us down. But they were there at that time to work with you in the early 70s. Now they're there to put you out of business. You know, I'm a firm believer in entrepreneurs that can come in there and challenge the system and build new businesses. I had a fellow Marine, after he finished his tour of duty as a colonel, he went into the tree business himself up there in Maryland. And he says between energy and the regulations, of course, in Maryland, you can't touch a tree limb without a huge government process and paperwork and everything else. But just get government off the backs of Americans and let us get back to work.
Common sense.
Yeah, common sense. You're exactly right.
John, how do people get in touch with you and your campaign?
www.johnbrunner.com, BRUNNER. We'd love to have you on board to bring a citizen senator back to Washington, D.C., to get Missouri and get America working again.
All right. Well, you're welcome anytime on the show. Well said. I like everything you had to say. Good luck to you, and we'll talk to you before the election.
Great being with you guys, and we're working down the campaign trail and hope to see everybody across this great state of Missouri.
Be right back. Dave Glover Show.